everyone. You're listening to The Future of Food Is You, a production of the Cherry Bomb Podcast Network. I'm your host, Abena Anim-Somuah, and each week I talk to emerging talents in the food world, and they share what they're up to, as well as their dreams and predictions for what's ahead. I love this new generation of chefs, bakers, and creatives making their way in the worlds of food, drink, media, and tech. Today's guest is Valeria Alvarez. Valeria is the founder of Peel Soft Serve, a banana-based soft serve shop in Miami Shores. Using 2 ingredients, bananas and coconut milk, the soft serve is a delicious and sustainable treat fit for the future. Valeria and I chat about her upbringing in Colombia, the beautiful things that can come from ugly fruit, the ins and outs of running a food business, and the trip to Indonesia that inspired Peel. Stay tuned for our chat. Thank you to Kerry for supporting The Future of Food Is You. Kerry is the iconic Irish brand famous for its beautiful cheese made with milk from Irish grass-fed cows. It's winter here in New York and lots of other places, as you know, and I love to brighten the season with my favorite Kerry cheeses. Kerry Cashel Blue Farmhouse cheese has become a staple in my salads. The creamy, delicious texture has that distinct blue cheese bite and is the star of my kale and walnut salads. Soup season is also in full swing. Kerry has some great recipes on their site, and one I have in frequent rotation is roasted broccoli soup with Kerry Dubliner with Irish stout cheese. The sweet and nutty flavor and caramel notes take it to the next level. And then the sandwich of the season, of course, is grilled cheese. Upgrade yours with a Kerry Reserve cheddar, which is sharp, strong, rich, and smooth. For us snackers out there, a personal cheese plate always hits the spot. Kerry Skellig, a rich and tangy sweet cheese, pairs perfectly with tart apple slices, your favorite crackers, or a pickle or two. Look for Kerry cheese at your favorite supermarket, specialty grocery store, or cheese shop. Visit kerrygoldusa.com for recipes, product information, and a store locator. The Cherry Bomb Jubilee Conference is taking place Saturday, April 20th in New York City. It's the largest gathering of women in and around the food, drink, and hospitality space, and an amazing day of conversation and connection. Meet great people, discover the folks behind your favorite brands, and gain wisdom from Jubilee speakers. Tickets are on sale now at cherrybomb.com. If you're an official Cherry Bomb member, be sure to check out the special pricing for members. I'll be at this year's Jubilee, and I would love to see you there. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Valeria, thank you so much for joining us on the Future Food Is You podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Can you tell us where you grew up and how did food show up in your life?
Sure. I was born in Colombia. I was born in Bogota. But both of my parents are from other parts of the country. My dad is from Manizales. My mom is from the southern part called Huila. And I essentially come from a family of creatives. You know, my grandpa from my dad's side, he was a tailor. My grandma was a seamstress. From my mom's side of the family, my grandpa was an entrepreneur. He had a bunch of billiards, and my grandma had a bakery. Both my grandmas were full matriarchs. Both my parents lost their fathers very early. Essentially, they raised children on their own. You know, I grew up around very family-centered reunions, and I come from such a massive family. I grew up going to different fincas, and by
What's
going
a finca for our guests who are not acquainted?
A finca is just a farm. It's a farm.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, a farm in different parts of the country where you grow your own food. You know, you have a ton of animals. You wake up super early. You go on hikes. It's just kind of like
a rancho.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And, some of my fondest moments are making bread from scratch, things like pan de yuca, pan de bonos, arepas, tamales. Like all of that was just something that I grew up doing a lot with my family. And to this day, my family still owns a couple of these fincas, and my uncle does own a citrus farm. We still go out there right now during the holidays and we pick our fruit. It's really great. Colombia is just really known for its exotic fruits, for its exotic vegetables. I used to go to all these fruit markets, and I would pick up fruit from all these different parts, and it was kind of second home to me. I would love to go to the fruit markets growing up.
I feel like so many of our guests who come on the show have second lives, and even before you started working on Peel, you worked at startups, working in new market expansion. Can you tell us about some of the places you worked at, and were there any lessons that you think you took from those that helped you in building Peel?
Yeah, so I moved to the States pretty early on. I've always just had a love for travel and just really love immersing myself in cultures. Coming from immigrant parents, they really wanted me to study something like business or go into medicine.
Lawyer,
lawyer.
Yeah.
I chose international business intentionally just from that desire of wanting to like get to know foreign places. I began my career working for agencies here in Miami with a focus in Latin America, right? It made sense because I'm bilingual. And, you know, this is during like 2014 where a lot of the tech companies were moving their Latin American headquarters to Miami from places like San Francisco. And it just made sense for me to kind of live here. And so I worked for the travel engine Kayak for a couple of years.
Very cool.
Helped them with their market expansion into Latin America. And then I went over to a company called Zendesk for a little while, also kind of expanding their Latin American markets. You know, I would really just spend weeks at a time in these foreign places, whether that was like Mexico or Argentina or Colombia even. That was one of my markets. That's what I love to do. You know, I would go weeks at a time and I would just immerse myself in their culture. Granted, you know, I was working, but that's really where my love for travel just sparked. That kind of led me to then start taking a lot of solo travel. And so I started going to other parts of the world and exploring those cultures as well. That's essentially how I began this idea and this concept that I have today.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into the trip you took to Indonesia in 2016. And it seemed to be a very important trip for you. How did that experience spark the creation for Peel?
Essentially, it was just me and my 3 girlfriends, and we
Love
went to
a girls
Bali.
trip.
I love a girls trip.
Yeah.
They fill my cup. And we just went to Bali for a couple of weeks. And again, we were just fully immersed in the culture. We were at this one beach called Seminyak for a little while. And every day was like essentially the same. You know, we'd wake up, we'd go grab a smoothie bowl. And for those that don't know what the smoothie bowl is, think of like a banana with like a milk alternative, like such as yogurt. And then you would top it off with more fruit. So whether that's fruit or nuts or seeds, mango, anything. Yeah. And these places used to get absolutely packed. Like you're talking surfers, you know, because there's a lot of surfers in Bali, or like kids on their way to school, or or like just expats like us. We were just like hanging out. And that's, you know, when I thought about it, it felt very community oriented. And I said this would be a really fun concept to bring back to Miami and to kind of have it be like my creative outlet when I got back here. And that's what I did. I came back to Miami and I was so set on this concept of like smoothie bowls with a really good consistency. That's when I really kind of started exploring with fruit markets. And so I began going to this fruit market here in Miami called Alapata and getting to know the local suppliers and learning about their daily fruit production. That's when I really kind of just stumbled on the base that we use today, which is bananas. And, you know, allowing those suppliers to teach me about the surplus of fruit that they had. That's kind of where the idea sparked.
I'm really curious to hear, you know, after you decided, okay, fruit's going to be the thing, I'm going to meet the suppliers, what did the recipe and flavor development process start to look like?
My partner, who also happens to be my husband, he's a brewer.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Does he have a brewery?
He does have a brewery here in Miami. It's called Vesasor. You know, he studied chemistry and he's very good at recipe development. I approached him with the concept when I came back. He helped me just basically test these recipes for a good 6 months. And so what we did is like we bought a small soft serve machine and we were living in like a really small efficiency at the time. And we just like put this in our kitchen counter and then we just began. I come from just eating very simple ingredients. I think for me, less is more. So I knew that I didn't want to add things like, I didn't want to add any additional sugars. And I wanted to keep ingredients at a minimum. He knew that in order for us to have the same consistency as like a good soft serve does, we needed to add a little bit of fat. And so he came up with coconut milk as being that milk alternative that we add.
It's so accessible too.
Exactly. Yeah. And essentially those are the 2 ingredients that we use to this day as our base.
It's really beautiful because you started off going to the farmers markets and now you open the first edition of Peel, we'll call it Peel V1 at the Legion Farmers Market. Why did you think that was a smart way to start out? And what was the initial response when you started serving there?
I didn't really know what people's reactions would be. You know, it's like soft serve made out of bananas. It just seems like a bit far from the typical soft serve that we're all used to. And I wanted to definitely just test out this concept and see if it was something that people were leaning towards in Miami. And a farmer's market just kind of felt the right way to do it because you get just so many different people from all walks of life come. You get a lot of locals who care about, sustainability. You get a lot of locals who care about the vendors, their stories. And we just really wanted to test out the concept, and it worked out in our favor.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you to Donna for supporting The Future of Food Is You. Donna is a female-founded and independently owned tea company based in Brooklyn, New York. Growing up in a tea-loving family where a freshly brewed cup was my mom's way of saying I love you, I'm inspired by the intentionality and research that goes into each cup of Donna. The company debuted with their masala chai concentrate, mix it with equal parts milk, and enjoyed iced or steamed into a delicious chai latte. Plus, Donna's products are created to thrive in and out of the cup. Use their chai concentrate in waffles, add their turmeric concentrate to a mango lassi, or blend their loose leaves into a shortbread cookie batter. If you're looking for a comforting beverage after a long day, reach for Donna's loose leaf teas and sachets. For a morning boost without the coffee jitters, try Donna's Kyoto Matcha. The stone-milled matcha is hand-plucked from a small family-owned plot in Kyoto. Donna is also committed to a sustainable future. Each week, the team sends hundreds of gallons of food scraps to a farm in upstate New York. For more information and recipes, visit drinkdonna.com or check them out on Instagram at drinkdonna. Thank you to the Hampton Grocer Granola for supporting The Future of Food Is You. The Hampton Grocer is an award-winning, small-batch, female-owned granola company. Founded in Montauk as a farm-to-door grocery delivery business, the Hampton Grocer became a beloved granola found at local farmers markets. Why do folks love it so much? The Hampton Grocer's granola is made with high-quality organic ingredients that are gluten-free and dairy-free. Yes, even their chocolate. The honey and organic maple syrup that give the granola its natural sweetness are sourced from small farms across New York State. And each bag is loaded with a nutritious blend of whole nuts, super seeds, and packs a serious crunch. Try a bowl of the Hampton Grocer cinnamon and dry cherry granola at breakfast with yogurt, or snack on the almond butter and chocolate chunk for a pick-me-up. If you're feeling creative, sprinkle a handful of the limited edition Hampton Grocer black truffle and hot honey flavor onto your springtime salad. If you'd like to make the Hampton Grocer granola part of your morning routine or afternoon snack time, use code FUTUREOFFOOD for 20% off your first order. Visit thehamptongrocer.com for product information, a store locator, and to request it at your local shop. How did you come up with the name?
I wanted something light and fun. Initially, I had thought about the name Musa, which essentially is the scientific name for banana.
Oh, very cool.
But I was like, it sounds a little too
technical.
So technical.
Yeah.
We were talking with one of my friends one day, and they're like, what about just like a banana peel? And I was like, what about just a peel? And peel is easy. It's kind of rolls off your tongue. You can portray it to just more than bananas. It portrays to all the fruit that we use. Yeah. The establishment.
Most fruit has a peel.
Most fruit have a peel. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of how the name came about.
It just feels very bright. It feels like, I know that it's yellow. And
if you look at our logo, I wanted our logo to kind of have like a happy face feel. So
nice.
So when you see the peel and you see the banana right under it, if you look at it from far, it always looks like a little happy face. That's amazing. Kind of the energy that I want to bring.
I love that. Good vibes with the soft serve.
Always.
So you retrofit an Italian Piaggio, and I don't know if anyone knows, there's those like little scooters with like a little hatch in the back. And you retrofitted that with a soft serve machine, thus creating the Peel Mobile. How did you come up with that experience? And what was the reaction to that again?
Yeah, the Italian Piaggio was so fun. I bought it off this one vendor who used to get only a couple of these straight from Italy.
Oh, fun. Like a fruit vendor? Or
no, he was just like some random guy. He like lived in Miami and he sold Italian Piaggios. And I had never seen one in my life, but I knew that he collected these cars, and I was like, I want to essentially recreate the back of one of these and have Peel on the road, more than just the farmer's market. Mm-hmm. I bought it. It was originally blue and painted it bright yellow, recreated the back to fit a small ice cream machine, basically the same ice cream machine that we started off with back when we were doing recipe testing. And then we placed it in the back. But one thing I did not consider, and it's something that I've actually spent the last 3 years learning about, is just how much electricity soft serve machines pull. And
because you have to cool it and churn it.
Yeah,
and
and so you need a massive generator for a very small soft serve machine. And so I quickly outgrew that. We did do it for a couple of events. People to this day still ask for the Italian Piaggio when they ask for
Is it still in commission?
No, we sold it. We sold it. But we have the Peel Mobile, and it's our trailer that really catapulted us from a farmer's market to kind of the next level and to what we are now. It's just a full-size trailer. It has a great generator. It has AC for us inside. We live in Miami. It's so hot all the time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it really worked out for us.
How did you decide on bananas to be the fruit that would, start the process?
Yeah, it happened during the learning process on that supply chain and visiting the suppliers. It was always something like banana or pineapple that I had in mind when I started thinking about the base that I wanted to use. But I settled on bananas when I started learning about the food waste process, especially with this fruit. And essentially, the banana supply chain is pretty interesting. And I had no knowledge of it before I kind of started doing this. It's between the time that bananas reach consumers, they go through the hands of producers, exporters, importers, distributors, and retailers. And that can typically take like a couple of weeks, right?
Oh, wow.
And it is during this supply chain that bananas start to ripen due to how long it takes from the producer to the retailer.
Yeah, so you got them green and then
they slowly start browning, and this leads to banana having a relatively high carbon footprint. So between transportation, pesticides, plastic waste, organic waste, they really do have a big impact on the environment. And by the time they get to these suppliers in places where we pick them up, these suppliers can't resell them,
Because they're not aesthetic enough.
Because they're not aesthetic enough. And that's where the concept of ugly fruit comes. And these suppliers, at least here in Miami, they call it banano número dos. And those are the bananas that we pick up, and those are the ones that we use and into our soft serve. And that's why we don't add any sugars, right? Because
So they're probably sweeter at that point, right? Because they're a little riper as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The browning of the bananas is actually like what we call Mother Nature's brown sugar, right? Because as bananas brown, enzymes break down the starches in the banana, and they produce more natural sugar, which is the reason why essentially we don't have to add any sweeteners to our soft serve.
Yeah. And coconut also has that sweetness, I think, pairs so well together. So
and a little bit of fat. So it kind of creates that consistency that we're looking for.
As your business is growing in demand, how are you able to maintain this sustainable practice? And how has this practice influenced other decisions in your business?
I mean, that's a great question. I think ultimately what's great about bananas is that they do grow year round. Mm-hmm. So there's always going to be a surplus of them when we need them. We have been lucky enough that we could not buy all of them so far because we're still a small business and a small shop. But I think as we do grow, we're going to be able to purchase these off these suppliers and help them essentially gain a little bit more income that they would have not had otherwise. And so that's our goal. Our goal is to just really minimize that supply chain process and be able to repurpose all the fruit that never made it to the grocery stores by also allowing the suppliers to get a little bit of goodness from it too.
And, opening a brick and mortar space is no joke, especially jumping from, your little pickup truck to having a space. I'm really curious to hear how you were able to build out the space in Miami Shores and what resources did you rely on to make it happen?
Yeah, so we had been looking for a space for a really long time. We had our trailer between July 2020 to July 2023, essentially, and we had been parked in front of a gym for the majority of that time. It was during the last 6 months before we actually found a space that we started doing a lot of collaborations with different institutions and businesses around the city, which
very cool.
Really helped us grow our community. We wanted our first store to be essentially very walkable to customers. So a place with very good foot traffic, a place where families and kids can come visit. And then luckily, we have a lot of friends in this industry, and through a mutual connection, we were able to find our current location in Miami Shores. There's tons of new families there. We've been received very well by the community, and, a lot of people do come from other places in Miami. They drive, whether it's like 40 minutes to visit the store, or they just come from all over. So we feel very lucky that we had found that space.
That's really awesome. What I love is that, I've only been able to experience Peel via Instagram. It's so awesome seeing the different arrays of toppings, nuts, granolas, and other fruits that you're using to add to the bowls. When you were thinking about accessorizing the soft serve, so to speak, where did you draw inspiration for the toppings?
Yeah, so we've always wanted for our customers to be able to enjoy Peel at any time of day. So it was really important to make toppings that allowed for that. We do make a lot of toppings in-house, whether it's our granola that we make, which is gluten-free, to our house peanut butter, which is made from just peanuts. We have very elaborate drizzles, such as a vegan chocolate sauce, salted caramel, strawberry drizzle. Everything at Peel is vegan and uses natural ingredients. We do have signature bowls on our menu that have both a mix of sweet and tart, and they're recommended to our customers depending on what they're craving. So if they want something sweet, they'll probably most likely purchase the PB cup, which is topped with peanut butter, cacao nibs, banana slices, chocolate drizzle. If they're craving something more filling and less sweet, then they're probably opt for our Crunchy Bee, which is topped with coconut flakes, peanut butter, granola, local Florida honey. And then we have all sorts of fruit as well, depending on if you're, yearning for something light. We really love to play with our toppings, allowing our customers to just really decide what kind of mood they're in for.
You don't only have bananas. I saw this incredible orange creamsicle situation you had, or you have passion fruit, even dragon fruit. When you're thinking about other fruits that you want to incorporate into soft serve, are you just relying on, based on what customers are telling you or what you're getting at the market, and how does that come about?
I'm always on the lookout for new fruits to add. Everything does have banana in it.
Oh, nice. Banana's always the base.
Banana's always the base, and we usually add a third ingredient. We often look for fruits that overpower the banana a little bit. We stay away from fruits that might not. So it'd be hard for us to make like a watermelon flavor, for example, because it's too watery and, there's not enough flavor in it. But something like passion fruit, mango, which, during mango season here in Miami, we use local mangoes. We try to go as local as possible, depending on what's in season. We did this amazing collaboration just last month with black zapote. And black zapote only grows during the winter time. So it's,
Is it like a seed or another fruit?
Yeah, it's a fruit. It has like a chocolate pudding taste.
Oh, I like that.
And we would just add that, to the banana base. So you'll always have the banana base, but you'll always have like an elaborate flavor.
Yeah.
And it really just does depend on what's available and what's in season.
It sounds like collaborations have been a big part of your work. I'm really curious to hear, Miami's food scene is so bustling. I feel like you have, the traditional Latin cuisine, you have all these big time restaurants, and you have a lot of family-owned establishments. How has the Miami food scene been supportive of you and your work?
Yeah, I would say the Miami food scene has become a very tight community. We really do support one another. We show up for one another's businesses, and we just really love to see each other's growth. We have been very lucky, again, to collaborate with a lot of these food businesses. I think ultimately there's just so much room for everybody in the city, and allowing people to have similar concepts is okay. I think when, somebody comes out with a new concept in Miami, I think we really cheer them on. And it's been really great to be in a city that gets to do that, especially coming from a place, being in a city that 10 years ago didn't have that. So we've really grown in the last decade in the scene.
Are there any favorite, female-owned businesses in Miami that you've just loved and have become pals?
I love this question just because I really do love female-owned businesses in Miami. Everything from food to art to there's just so many female-owned businesses that you can find here. But, food establishments, like you can go very elaborate route like the Boya Days or the Rosie's Cafe, or one of my, local favorites because it's just down the street from where I live is called Limoni. Magdalena Coffee is women-owned. Then you also have, Caja Caliente down in the Grove. There's so many amazing food options here.
We're huge manifestors on the podcast. Are there aspirations you have for the business, and where do you hope to see it grow in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, Peel was such a foreign concept 5 years ago to me, and I didn't really know where it would lead. I just feel so lucky that it has led me to where it is today. I only hope that 5 years from now, we have a couple of Peel locations here in South Florida. We are perhaps expanding to other places. This is a little out there, but sometimes I feel like I would love to start giving back to the community by educating people a little bit more on food waste, maybe perhaps in schools, kind of teaching people where the source of food comes. I think the opportunities are kind of all over the place, but they're exciting. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's out there. I mean, this is a great segue into a question of how do you hope Peel inspires people to create more sustainable food businesses? Because I feel like that's something that, I think a lot more people are trying to invest in, or even if they're opening a food business, they're wanting to be able to like have some facet of it be sustainable, whether it's the cutlery or the types of produce they're using, or even sustainability when it comes to people, like making sure your staff are healthy and taken care of.
For sure, yeah. I mean, for us, choosing the sustainable route was also a smart business decision. Using 100% rescued bananas for our soft serve was really just an effort for us to be more sustainable. But also they were perfect bananas to use for our recipe. It doesn't always happen in the business world that like a sustainable choice is the obvious business choice. But we hope that other businesses find opportunities to do this more and hopefully find these synergies become more and more convenient moving forward.
I always like to ask this question, but is there a dream guest or, someone you're an admirer of that you'd love to come get some Peel soft serve?
We've had some really amazing guests in the past.
Oh, fun.
Sometimes I'm not even in the shop and I hear that they showed up and I'm like, what do you mean they showed up? That's so exciting. And they, heard from word of mouth. But it's honestly just really anybody who cares about what we're doing, right? Our sustainability efforts. We really do put so much love into doing this business. And I think as long as people are appreciative of it, know the source of where this is coming from, they're dream guests in my book, honestly.
I'm curious, was there like a fun celebrity that came in or?
Cindy Crawford came in.
No way.
Came in.
Cover girl.
Like, I was like.
Peel girl, I should
Peel girl. I know. If you're listening, just come back.
Yeah.
She was a really fun one that came recently.
Oh, that's so fun.
We get a couple of fun, celebrities every once in a while. But yeah.
Has Pitbull come through yet? Or
we haven't had Pitbull.
I feel like he's Mr. 305. So
yeah. I mean, honestly, like if you're in the Miami area, we got so many. I feel like everybody's moved here. So
yeah.
Hey, hopefully like we have a couple of Peel locations near your neighborhood soon.
Yes.
And you can just pop in.
We're manifesting. I love that. Is there a dream brand or person that you love to collaborate with on a flavor?
Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky to have collaborated with pretty cool brands so far. I think in the near future, it'd be really fun for us to collaborate maybe with athletes.
And there's tons of sports teams in Miami.
And there's tons of sports teams. So honestly, yeah. I can't think of like one per se that comes to mind, but I'd love like a really fun tennis player.
Yes. Coco Gauff?
Yes.
Okay.
Coco. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
To have athletes. Just because, again, Peel's such a fun concept. It's light, it's refreshing, and it's so healthy and good for you that, I think athletes would be a really good fit.
Yeah. Coco would be so great. I feel like, because she also eats like the little fruits. If you've ever watched her playing tennis, she has like a little fruit thing.
Coco.
Yeah. Coco's agent. We got a deal for you. How do you hope that your work with Peel, inspires Latina founders like yourself, particularly in the American culinary landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of opportunities for growth, innovation, cultural representation, as more attention is being paid to diverse voices and perspectives in the culinary world. I think there's a lot more interest in exploring diverse cuisines and our culinary traditions that we have in Latin America. And, we're seeing a lot with companies like Siete Foods, for example, right? That they were able to introduce their Mexican heritage and personal experiences. And I eat one of their tortillas every day. So
love that.
But I think there's just a lot of space for us. I think a place like Miami is a great place to start, as well, because there's just such a culture diversity here and anywhere, honestly. I think there's nothing like good Latin American food.
And what do you think the future is for sustainable-driven food companies like yours?
I think small businesses will find it increasingly easier to find ways to be more sustainable without significant cost. No business is perfect in regards to sustainability, but there are increasingly more services and resources to improve sustainability for small business in many ways. So, like, for example, we pay for a composting service that takes all of our banana peels and gives them back to a local farm. This service did not exist 5 years ago. And so I see more and more of small businesses like this emerging in the near future as sustainability and supporting local agriculture just becomes increasingly more important to people.
Valeria, thank you so much for this conversation. If we wanted to continue to support you, where are the best places to find you?
Our social media is Peel Soft Serve on Instagram. If you want to send us an email or get in touch, our email address is hello@peelsoftserve.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we go, our guest is going to leave a voicemail just talking to themselves 10 years from now. You have reached the Future of Food Is You mailbox. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, Valeria, it's me. I hope that when the time you're listening to this, that you have found yourself in a very happy place, that you are rocking it, and hopefully your business is rocking it as well. Pio is strong as ever. You have built on this business over the last decade into a place that feels extremely comfortable and extremely great overall. I only wish that you've had patience, that you have had a lot of help along the way, that you've been able to collaborate with everybody that you've wanted to collaborate with, and that you are at peace of where you are.
That's it for today's show. I would love for you to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to our show. Thanks to Kerry Gold, Donna, and Hampton Grocer for supporting our show. The Future of Food Is You is a production of the Cherry Bomb Podcast Network. Thanks to the team at City Vogt Studios, executive producers Carrie Diamond and Catherine Baker, associate producer Jenna Sadhu, and editorial assistant London Crenshaw. Catch you on the Future Flip!